Hugh Screwer back with you with lesson number 6 of my ADSOM training, which I conduct here at the organisation known as SUC. Putting the hip flask away, I have dispensed for the moment with my customary introduction to my ADSOM training lessons with my walk-in depicting myself pretending to swig from the hip flask, as I say, doing my depiction of Tom Berenger's brilliant depiction of Sergeant Bob Barnes in the 1986 Oliver Stone movie Platoon's top starring Charlie Sheen. Reason being, in lesson number 4 I did mention, well, I was asked questions and I confirmed that there were rumours. Number 1 was that Richard Pike, who is planned, I had planned on him teaching you students during my training classes the specialist subject of ADSOM etiquette at junkets. So that was rumour number 1. Rumour number 2, I said, was that at least one of the directors and maybe more directors and the CEO at SUC were looking at scrutinising my training, and that the introduction to the training where I come in swinging from the hip flask was one of the methods of training that they were investigating or looking at being unsound. So what's happened is now that both those two things are no longer rumours. They're not rumours now, they are facts. So the directors and CEO, so the CEO ultimately here has deemed that my customary introduction, coming in, swinging from hip flask, doing my Sergeant Bob Barnes impression, is to be unsound. So that's where it sits at the moment. I've complying with the direction not to use it. As I said to you students, my commitment to you is to get you guys through, get you tooled up in this training, get you tooled up to become tools, get you graduated out of this training. So that's my commitment. So I'm not going to make a big song and dance about a small component of my training. The second part, and probably the more serious part, is that Mr. Richard Pike is basically at present, doing his best kissing up and so forth, being a great ADSOM manoeuvres, if you like, doing some kissing up with the director and CEO and trying to get you, which is me of course, moved on from the training and get Mr. Richard Pike placed in the training. Well, I'm not going anywhere unless I'm forced to go, so that's where it stands at the moment. So just let that be. Spin doctors, what did you want to ask? Just hang on one tick. I just wanted to make sure we've got the sound on the mic for the training, which we record and then we put it online as well. Okay, so spin doctors, what do you want to ask? I did mention, Sarah Miss, my long-time colleague and esteemed trainer, Ms. Serendipity Ubiquity. As I said, she's got her schedule to come in as a specialist and do some training with you as well. These 2 events, as I said, do not affect that. My engagement with, not engaged to be married, it's just my contractual relationship with serendipity is between myself and her, but is approved by, it's approved in writing under suck. So serendipity is not engaged directly by suck at all. So as I said, it don't affect the training unless somehow the directors were able to deem serendipity's training by using her as her methods or something unsound, but I can't see it happening. Can't see it happening. So she's got that sort of she's got that celebrity A-list feature attached to her as well. So yeah, when she comes in, you know, the directors and see how they always suck it up to, you know, hello Sarah, oh, wonderful to see you, all that sort of stuff, you know, just in the hope that they might get, you know, get some tickets to a movie premiere or a ball or, you know, a party with some A-listers and that there. They never do, they never do, but anyway, they just keep sucking up to it. Okay, that's out of the way, fellas, so let's get into training. So we started off, just touched on bullying last week because William Shakespeare brought it up, and as I said to William, most people have brought it up, most classes have brought it up in the first, and nearly all the other classes have brought it up by the second asked me about bullying. And like I've said to William, it's like basically any fool can bully sort of things, and that's why we have in place our tenements, which underpin our whole philosophy of being ADSOM, and you know, that's from lesson number 1. As I said, you know, you forget the traits of Sergeant Elias, as depicted in the movie Platoon. Embrace the traits of Sergeant Barnes, as depicted in the movie Platoon. So important. Remember, kick down, kiss up. So important. As I said, I used the analogy with the 1984 John Elveston movie, the classic The Karate Kid, you know, with Daniel asking Mr. Miyagi to train him in self-defense, being karate, and you know, and he's teaching him, you know, to, you know, wax on, wax off, you know, brush on, brush off, you know, it's cleaning Mr. Miyagi's house and car, and Daniel gets a bit frustrated, you know, because he wants to get into the real stuff, you know, where you go out and, you know, in self-defense, but go out and strike somebody, or practice striking somebody in the case of taking lessons. Yeah, so it's a bit like, as I said to you, William, I do apologise for calling you Richard too last week when I replied to your answer, because I did have Richard Pike on the brain, which is a bit understandable given the circumstances. So it's a bit like, you know, as I say, you forget Elias, embrace Barnes, kick down, kiss up. It's like Mr. Miyagi teaching Daniel, you know, wax on, wax off, because it's important, it underpins you. You don't realise how important it is. You know, any fool can just go out and bully somebody, you know. Well, you know, most bullies are cowards. And I guess, yeah, look, and that's what, as an ADSOM and using bullying, which bullying, of course, is going to be part of your kick down methodology and philosophy. It's going to be just one tool, one component of it. Yeah, so any you know, it's a much better to have that solid basis of ADSOM training. You know, you embrace, forget Elias, embrace Barnes, kick down, kiss up. You know, the signature walk, very important as well. You know, signature movements. You know. Things like that, you know, very important. And as I say, any field can go out and do some bullying, but we're going to get in and do some bullying. So I'm going to do a little demonstration of some bullying, and what we're going to do, this is a brilliant bullying technique, and it can be used very, very simply, or it can be used to a high degree of sophistication. But what I'll do is I've just got, so I'm going to hand out these little message tokens. Don't be too concerned at the moment because they've all got the same message in them. I'll just put them out here, and everybody except for you, Mr. Maverick, you just stay seated. I'm not picking on you. I'm not picking on. This is demonstration, a training exercise of a demonstration of a bullying technique. But I'm just going to have to use you. Just trust me. Just trust me, Mr. Maverick. So, yeah, you got yours. Tears, Fears, Father Brown, Old 55. Spin Doctors and William Shakespeare. Good to have. It's very pleasing to have you all back, all 6 of you. This is the first training class where we've made it to lesson number 6 and had everybody who started on board. Yeah, you usually do have a fairly significant attrition rate in Hugh Screwer's had some training, but like I said, some find it easier than others, some find it harder than others. That's the way it is. Okay, so open up your message tokens and it's got something written down. Yeah, so it's got something written down. What's it got written down? Yeah, Farmer Brown. Yeah, it's got. Don't say the name of what the training is, but it's about elite training. It's about elite training. For elite training for ADSOMS. Basically, ADSOMS who have completed this training, plus they've probably done some ADSOM experience in the workforce. It's for the elite ADSOM, and it's a Hugh Screwer trained, personally trained, and it's through my own training organisation. It's not through SUC at all, so it's out of the reach of SUC. SUC cannot come to me at this organisation and say the method's unsound because they don't have any jurisdiction over me. Okay, so he's good. Yeah, Mr. Maverick has said, so it's the top gun of ADSOM training. Very good, Mr. It is. Yeah, that's what it is. It's my top gun of ADSOM training. That's what it is. And of course, he's not called Top Gun. Good. He's on fire today, Mr. Maverick, isn't he? Yeah. He says he called it Top Screw. He's pretty close. Look, I've called it Corkscrew. Why the hell did I call it Corkscrew? Well, I couldn't have called it Top Screw, could I? Because everybody would have just referenced when they talked about the movie Top Gun, and they were talking about Maverick and Ice and Goose and Jester and bring back that loving feeling and, playing the beach volleyball in the sand and the sweat and all that stuff, couldn't have it. It had to define itself, so couldn't. If I called it Top Screw, it wouldn't have happened. So I've called it Corkscrew. Well, you get someplace high, your celebration. A lot of people associate with celebration champagne. How do you overbolt champagne if you can't get the cork open? You use a corkscrew. So it's called a corkscrew, and that's what it is. So anyway, besides the point, everybody's got that information except Mr. Maverick. I've left him out on purpose. What am I doing to Mr. Maverick? Anybody? William Shakespeare, do you know? Father Brown. I'm sending him Coventry. It's an old saying, I'm sending him Coventry. It's a sophisticated way of ostracisation being used in workplaces hundreds of years. To send somebody to Coventry, it's almost as if they're not there, just ignore them. Nobody has their morning tea with them. Nobody tots. If I arrange meetings, I might arrange meetings with all of you except Mr. Maverick. Yeah, Mr. Maverick. I'm not. This is not for real. This is a training. So okay. Yeah. So don't get up and storm out. No, this is a training exercise. I'm just showing you. It's interesting though. It's interesting to see how he started to feel already. Just left that little bit out. The thing about Mr. Maverick too is like he's always making those half attempts at humour all the time. He's always making that half attempt at wit. So I could say about Mr. Maverick that he's a half wit. So I've got little sniggers from 5 of you here, but not from Mr. Maverick. Again, it's another thing, sending him to Coventry, making him feel less than everybody else, trying to make him feel left out. And if I wanted, even more sophisticated, again, it might not be just not mentioning him and just leaving him out altogether. It might be, oh, well, that's right. I mean, that was that movie Top Gun that Tom Cruise starred in as Maverick. Yeah, so Val Kilmer was nice. Tom Skerritt was the head of command or whatever. Kelly McGillis, she was the trainer, wasn't she? Anyway, so in that, I think, so Maverick was his nickname. So, but I think, so his real name was Pete Mitchell in the movie. So I'm not going to tell people your real name, Maverick, but just for this training purpose, we'll just pretend that your real name is Pete Mitchell, or Peter Mitchell. So he might actually identify with that nickname Maverick, and he might like it, embrace it, and so forth. He might enjoy it, So anyway, I call each of you other nicknames, and I mean, none of you really have vehemently protested about it so far. So I'm going to continue to do it. So I continue, I say, and I keep having this camaraderie type thing, Tears for Fears are looking forever young there, mate. It's a mad world, isn't it, mate? Bit of camaraderie there. Tears for Fears, player's name. His name, funny hat on, of course. Spin Doctors. Has there been a Prince here before you, mate? Things like that. Old 55, of course. Don't give us that, kid. You were in there with the rest of them, something like that. Camaraderie. Father Brown, of course. Solved any good murders in your parish today? Last week, Father Brown. William Shakespeare. Well, you old bard. So you get all this comment. I'm giving you fucking. Sorry. Pardon me. Excuse me. I just thinking. Anyway, I'm giving you a high five. Oh, that was good. Oh, that was a good question. Just high five. I don't know whoever came up with that. Did somebody start a quiz show where that was the great thing to do in workplaces? Was there a quiz show on called Wankety Wanks or something? Everybody high five. Anyway, so but when it comes to Mr. Maverick, I'm not even calling Maverick, and I go, Peter Mitchell, stay back after class, see me. Peter Mitchell, you left your prescription hemorrhoid cream down the office by mistake. Could you go down there and collect it? Peter Mitchell, and be sick of it. Peter Mitchell, calling everybody else, come on, Brownie, high fives, all that kind of shit, sending to Coventry. That's what I've done. Sending to Coventry. Okay, that might do for today. We'll wrap that up. We are going to do another technique in bullying and harassment next lesson, and that's called I term it continuous applied pressure, and it might sound like it's something in a first aid course or a structural engineering course, but it's a bullying and harassment thing. So we'll do that next week, but also to balance out, because bullying is, it's a kick down. It's a kick down technique. We don't want you to lose balance, so I want to do some, show you some good kissing up techniques as well. Okay, anyway, get out of here, you folks. Well,